After 5 days of screening, the 42 nominees for ministerial roles presented by the President to the Senate have all been approved. What did you think about the screening process, the nominees themselves, and then who would fit into which role? That's what we're discussing right here on Root Cause, and to have that conversation right here in the studio is our political analyst in the person of Dr. Tony Akabono. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me here.
All right, 5 days of screening, 42 people. Some had to bow and go. What are your thoughts generally of the screening process?
And I was not particularly impressed. You know, the 9th Senate, with due respect, disappointed Nigerians. And I don't think they impressed the president, because if you're trying to help the president to shortlist a team that will help him, they didn't do the job.
Interesting. Now, were there any standouts? Were there circumstances or screening processes or interviews, if I should use that word, or presentations that stood out for you? Which ones were those?
Let's look at the areas that borders us in this country, where we have challenges now: the economy, security, and a fight against corruption. Then looking about basically our unemployment figures that is in the gutters now. I didn't listen to anyone that gave a clear plan to help that maybe anticipated he was going to be like the Minister of Defense, for example, to reel out a strategy that could help our very bad security situation in Nigeria. I didn't hear any, unfortunately. Well, in the area of anti-corruption, I heard somebody like Festus Keyamo. He attempted to get into a terrain, he barged into a terrain that he doesn't really have an authority to do that as a minister if he becomes a minister of
which terrain would you say? Because he gave out some, he reeled out some.
He was talking about what he would do about the Supreme Court, the judiciary, and what has been happening. He's talking from premise of being a lawyer. So the only way he can do that probably if he becomes a Minister of Justice. But he's forgetting as a lawyer that he doesn't have that power to do it in the first place. You know, he will need to go through, he will involve both the executive and the National Assembly to do that. And well, what he was saying made some sense, because I believe that the unbundling needs to be done in the judiciary, but the strategy he was putting was not what would fly under the template we have. It
was flawed under your own scrutiny.
From my assessment,
in terms of your assessment. Interesting. Let's talk about the 7 women who were there. I mean, a lot of people felt they didn't get as much grueling as possible. Interestingly, Bimishola Saraki was one a lot of people kept harping on, because during her screening, it felt like she was just talking to a group of people she knew too well. Generally, for all of the women, what did you think? Did anyone stand out?
Well, for all the women, I will try as much as possible to be the gentleman that I am. You know,
while being honest.
Yes, well, I'll try and do a balance now.
Thank you.
Go ahead. I'll be honest. You know, I do not. I'm one of those that believe that our issue is not gender imbalance. With due respect, it's not gender imbalance. What we should focus on is simple. If we're going to have 43 women, if we have 43 women, it's fine, as far as I'm concerned. What you focus on is just those that have capacity to perform, that have the required competence to deliver on a plan. You know, if you don't have competence to deliver on a work plan, your gender is irrelevant to me. If you don't have the character to be able to manage our diversity, right? Who cares?
And none of the 7 women showed you anything that was spectacular?
A new person in the block there. The only probably new person I can see that is maybe unfamiliar to people in the political space, which I try to do my research on, is the lady from Zamfara State. Politically, a lot of people might not know her. I did a research on her and discovered that she was actually a national treasurer of CPC. That's the party that turned out the president now. So that explains maybe what the president was saying, that he will probably pick those he personally knows. Maybe that's why he picked her, you understand? But that's not to say that she does not have the required training. I think she has a master's in international relations and business admin. So I don't know where she's going to go. She did not give a guide of where she's suspecting she's going to go. No, but apart from her that is new, the others are not, they have not, with due respect to them, they have not showed exceptional
qualities,
competence in areas where they had been in the past. You know, I don't I don't like to paint issues. I have a dossier on all of them, all the women.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay, so let's do a little bit of predictions. Even though the president says that he will not put out a portfolio for the ministers, those who have passed the screening, until his cabinet is fully formed. We don't know when that will be. We just hope maybe this month, August. So let's try who would fit in where. Of all of them, who do you think, let's say, Minister for Justice?
Let me predict the president, because...
Predict the president?
Yes.
In terms of who, when?
Yes.
All right,
yeah,
cool.
Because he's the one that will determine.
All right.
Yeah, he's very predictable.
Give us an idea.
Yeah, after being a president for about 4 years now, that we know what he can do. I know Malami will return as Attorney General, Minister of Justice, clearly. He will return. I'll be surprised if he doesn't. The president will shock me. And will shock Nigerians. Simple.
And? Continue.
The gentleman that was a Minister of Education,
Adamu. You think he'll come back
as a person, well, the check we did on him is that he's a man of impeccable integrity, all right? In terms of delivery in education, I have not been able to see, well, he was able to explain to us. He gave us data that was very impressive. We showed that our children out of school has increased. Now, my takeaway from his report was this. He's a man that has been honest. He didn't hide the figure. He didn't paint it. Because most people would have come to just hide the information. Because the figure we had before was 13 million. Now we have 60 million. This was someone as Minister of Education, but he was upfront to say that what we have as of February, the figure they have is 16 million. So I just said that, okay, he has been honest. Now, whether he will have the capacity to turn around things, I don't know. But because the president again knows him very well as a man of integrity, all right? He's likely to go back to that ministry. Which is education.
Yes. All right, when you look at someone like Festus Keyamo, even though during his screening, he seemed like he was really lobbying for the job of Attorney General, but where do you think he'll fit in? Some people have said because he did so well in the president's campaign, he may be good in terms of information, which we already know that Lai Mohammed is there. So fit Festus Keyamo for us. Where do you think he will go, probably?
Lai Mohammed versus Festus Keyamo.
Information.
Well, two of them have one skill set, common skill set.
Which is?
They are talkers. The point is that whether what they talk about is the true position, I can't say about that, but they are talkers. I need a talker to be there, so any of them can fit there. Beyond that space, I doubt they can fit anywhere else.
Interesting. So you don't even see Lai Mohammed going to any other ministry beyond just staying where he was? And, of course, Festus Keyamo fitting into that as well. So maybe you have a minister and a minister for state.
Maybe. Where else will he fit in? Lai Mohammed is known for something to talk.
Interesting.
What else? Where else will he fit?
Do you think Fashola is going back where he came from? Or going back to the same ministry?
Fashola, I say this as governor as somebody that I spent most of my life in Lagos. So when he was governor of Lagos, he is somebody that knows, he demonstrated as a governor of Lagos State how to operationalize a plan. Because when you give a plan, you operationalize it. Fashola did. Now, as minister, do I say that the president again made a mistake to put too much on his table? He gave him too many balls to juggle, but he doesn't have the skill set to juggle too many balls. Then in that case...
Why would you say that? This was a person who was a former governor. Come on, he juggled a lot of things in terms of skill set to juggle a lot of...
No, he was doing his job as governor. He was doing his job
executive
as
governor,
yes.
And then there were many other people.
He wasn't doing the job as executive governor of 2 states. Now, the president told him to be minister under, these are strong works and housing.
Yes.
Power. And we can see, we have not seen delivery. Yes.
Maybe it would make sense to unbundle that particular ministry.
Let us judge, let us rate Fashola based on one ministry, because I don't want to be unfair to rate him now because it was the fault of the president. True. You gave him too many balls to juggle, so we couldn't see the skills.
So maybe it is possible that the president could look, I mean, if possible, the president should unbundle power, works and housing as a ministry. Because
I suspect that Fashola, where he did a lot of, where he gave us a lot of plan, he gave us a lot of plan in terms of power sector, all right? Then we can give him an opportunity to operationalize that plan. And don't distract him with other ministries. Let us see how he performs.
All right, let's talk about the former governors. Aregbesola was very interesting when he showed up. What do you think?
Who is that?
Rauf Aregbesola.
Okay.
Okay. Any former governor who made any impression in terms of ministerial nominees?
Former governors that made an impression on ministerial nominees. We have Akpabio.
Akpabio, of course. Okay, let's deal with just both of them. They're probably the more popular ones. Akpabio, of course, a lot of people did predict that he will become a minister because he wanted to go after his a senatorial seat, which he felt was robbed him. But now he is getting something back. Akpabio. Okay,
there are two sides to this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Akpabio, when he was governor, he did, we saw some evidence of what he did as a governor. But some people want to look at it critically, that most of those things were just basically transactions. But okay, if you say they are transactions, why I don't want to blow that too hard is this. Why didn't others that didn't perform, why didn't they have transactions so that they could deliver on governance? Akpabio, I suspect again that it might take him to maybe either works and housing or Niger Delta. That's where I suspect he will go, because the president, knowing the way the president thinks, like I said, very predictable. That Akpabio maybe has some reasonable influence among
in the Niger Delta.
And he'll be able to calm any restiveness.
I see.
Right? That's what the president will see, because basically it's to calm people down when people are beginning to agitate in any form. And he will feel that, okay, since maybe he did a lot of infrastructure, he delivered on infrastructure.
His people may love him.
The people may love him, and maybe he can
operationalize
on the housing projects.
Finally, defense is the biggest issue for us. Security is an issue. Of all the people that you heard during that screening, did anyone stand out for you in terms of a person who could be the minister for defense?
Nobody.
Nobody?
Nobody. If I were advice for the president is this: if he will listen, instead of being a substantive minister of petroleum resources, let him go to defense and have a minister of state. Let him supervise. Let the president, retired general, let him go to the forefront. Let him lead. Yeah. If he could lead petroleum resources, let him lead defense.
So you are saying that the president should be the minister of defense and then have a minister of state for defense?
Yes, I don't see any other person there. I don't.
That's
the gentleman from the retired general from Kano State, I think Maduji or so, we have his dossier. I read a bit about him when he was serving under Abacha. Maybe predictably, most likely the president might take him there, or interior. But I would advise the president to lead the Ministry of Defense and leave petroleum resources.
That's really an interesting one. That's really a ball for the president. Leave the Ministry of Petroleum and move to defense.
But see, Gloria, just think about it. Is it not, if the president, one of the things that we knew him for was that he's a military. When he was in service, he really led an operation during the military scene. Okay, now he's commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Command, lead from the front.
I see. That's an interesting...
Leave oil resources, petroleum resources, go to defense. Yeah.
That's a big challenge for the president, I would say. Would the president ever consider being the Minister of Defense and then having a Minister of State for Defense, since he used to be formerly in the military? We'll see how that goes. A big thank you to you, Dr. Tony Akabuno, for giving us your thoughts on the ministerial screening and who should fit into where. All right. So you have heard all of the predictions. You have heard all of the thoughts of our guest. What do you think? Please go to the comment section of this video and tell us who should fit into where. You've been watching Root Cause. My name is Gloria Oji Emodi. You stay right here.